Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. I'm Ngozi and I'm Nnena, and for those of you tuning in for the first time, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and here we go. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to level up in your late 20s. Late 20s is 27 to 29.
Yes.
Anyone that has... So the level up videos have been really popular, and I feel like a lot of them like group people like 20s, right? And it's cool. I've watched a few of them. I don't think that I know like I can't take anything. I'm still in my 20s, but I do think that the 20s are too broad.
When I was
because
22,
like I can't, me being 20 and my age now, it's totally different experiences, right? I was like 20 or 21. They weren't even relevant to my life
at all.
I wasn't even thinking. I didn't even have the sense that I have now, you know. So I do think that your late 20s is a very interesting, I would say have been very interesting and very pivotal part of your 20s, because the number one thing is that the late 20s, people expect so much from you. When you're in your early 20s, even mid 20s, you hear that, oh, you're so young. Don't worry about it. You're a baby. Oh my God, you're so mature for your age. Oh, don't think about that. It'll happen. Blah, blah, blah. And then you get to the late 20s, you're like now you can't give those excuses no more. You can't say you can't be hitting 30 and say, oh, you're like, mind you, 30 is still fairly young, you know. But in this type of society where so much is thrown in your face, you go on social media, people at 30 have a house, they already are done having children, you know what I mean? They have these big cars and their dream career. There's so much comparison. What would I would say the number one piece of advice to level up in your late 20s is to stop comparing yourself to other people. Period. Because at the end of the day,
period.
Because at the end of the day, nobody has it all, and things are not always what they seem.
And no one has experienced your life the way you have. So you don't know there's a reason why some people are quote unquote better off at 22 versus 32. Because everyone's trajectory is different. Everyone faced a certain amount of struggles, a different amount of struggles. You're in different circumstances. You have different situations. So you could look at someone and be like, oh, they have this and they have that, but it's like you don't know the full story.
And just remember that social media is controlled content out there. It is controlled. The people are controlling the access you have to their life. So the reality is that no one is going to show you everything. No one's going to show you the tough times. No one's going to show you the hard times, right? That's not to say that everyone on social media is living a lie, because I don't believe that. You know what I mean? I think that's annoying as well. People are doing well. People are happy, right? But when you sit around comparing yourself, you lose out on your own life and things that you can be doing.
To create the
because
life
sometimes
you
have to sit down and think that like, there's people that wish they had your life.
People are looking at your life like,
people
wow.
are looking at your life like, oh my goodness, like
you're so accomplished.
Like, you know, even people, I have friends that are older than me, married and kids, and they look up to me. You know, because they think that my life I have is what they wish they would have done maybe before they settle down. Do you get what I'm saying? You never realize that you are also inspiring people. So stop always looking for someone to compare your life to, and realize that your life is pretty decent, it's pretty good. Like
and even if it's not, you know, you do what you can to change what you can, and the rest of it, you know, you don't kill yourself about it.
But that's pretty vague advice. No one wants to hear that.
No, but it's a reality. Like there's certain things in your life that you have control over, right? And there's certain things that you never really will, and I think that's the issue. You know, as human beings, one of the most developed species, we like to feel like we can control everything, and we can't. We can control a lot of things. If I'm
sometimes we have
you know, if I look a certain way and I don't like it, I can go change it. I can lose weight. I can get girls on getting the surgery. You know, there are things you could change, but you know you can't change everything. So I think that's the big part of, you know, the 20s, realizing what you can change and what you can't, and working on what you can, and learning to cope and deal with what you can. You know, like it is what it is. But I think the big one definitely is the comparison. Another one right after the comparison is learning to set boundaries.
Shut up, this one for me.
You have to learn. Like it's crazy because think about it. When you're like 20 years or 21, you're technically still like a teenager, still in college. If you went to college, no, I'm being real. Like you're young. Like you're you're a teenager. Like yeah, you're not a teenager because you're not 19 anymore. But like a 20-year-old is still a teenager. Like you're still technically can't even drink. You know what I mean? You're young. So like the way I was thinking at that age was like, when I think back, I'm like, wow, like I didn't know anything. Like I thought I knew the world, everything, because I was smart. But it's not about just being smart. It's understanding the world. Like I thought I knew it. I was clueless. So it's hard sometimes to, you know, set those boundaries when you're younger, because you're still young. You know, probably if you're living with your parents, you're worried about being likable. You're worried about not being the bad person, people talking about you. You're so worried about what other people think about you, right? So, but when you get older, you realize that the boundaries you're setting are for you. how people react to your boundaries has nothing to do with you.
Their problem.
That's their problem. It's not your problem.
To worry about their reaction.
Exactly.
To your boundaries.
To your boundaries. Your boundaries you're setting are for yours. It could even be boundaries with your parents. It's not even just in relationships, in family members. It's with everyone, co-workers. It's every type of relationship. Boundaries have to be established. It's not. There's no going around it, because when you don't set those boundaries, it's so hard to set boundaries later. You know what I mean? When so much damage has already been done, and you start, it affects how you feel about yourself. You feel used, you may feel abused, you may feel taken advantage of, and it doesn't feel good when you feel like someone took advantage of you or someone didn't treat you the way you wanted to be treated. So I think that setting boundaries is key. You trying to live with someone,
you don't think that's all 20s you're saying is more important in your late 20s?
It's at early you could do it's better, but I feel like what I'm saying is, I'm speaking for myself. When I was younger, I didn't even know what boundaries were.
Right.
I don't think the average 22-year-old even understands boundaries. That's not something. Are you in the workplace yet? Have you really worked a real job yet? Are you really in those environments where you start to see how important setting these boundaries are? I know I wasn't. I didn't really get the whole concept. This was something I learned in my late 20s. Boundaries. So I think that's very important.
So number 3, how to level up in your late 20s. I would definitely say have fun, because I feel like when I go on social media, sometimes it's just too serious. Oh, focus your 401k, match it. Oh, save 100,000, don't buy the luxury car. Oh, don't go to Dubai, instead stay and eat noodles. Like everything is just so like, sometimes it's so too rigid. It's too many extremists out here. It's like, damn, I'm gonna have fun in my late 20s, okay? I spent my early 20s in school, always studying, always doing this. I'm not gonna forget to have fun. I'm not gonna just have fun once a year on vacation. Like, no, I still need to live my life. Life is about balance. It is about balance. It's too many people out here on social media living in extremes. Like, because the reality is that people say, you have to, I'm all about I have a pension. I contribute to my 401k, the max that they match, okay? So I'm not coming here to tell you I don't do those things. Sometimes I get mad because I see how much is taken out of my check, but I'm like, okay, I'm thinking about my future. But the reality is that all this stuff, nobody knows tomorrow. Nobody knows if you're even gonna make it to 35. Nobody knows if you're gonna make it to 40s. No one knows if you're gonna make it to 70. You get what I mean? So sometimes I feel like this whole overthinking about ahead, enjoy now.
Live in the present.
Enjoy now. Nobody knows. Like, you don't know where your life is gonna be. Like, have fun. Like, do what makes you happy. Like, do the things you want to, if you want to do it. Not because someone's telling you to do it, but because you want to do it. Like, don't be so rigid and uptight, super organized. You have a planner. You write everything about your whole, like, and I'm an organized person saying this. I make to-do lists, but I feel like some people are too rigid. And I feel as if in your late 20s, stop being rigid. Nobody wants to be around someone that's too rigid.
You don't need to be all that.
Like, have some type of spontaneity.
Right.
Have some type of, we going to the city tonight. We doing, like, everything doesn't have to be all planned and so rigid and so specific. Like, have fun.
Right.
Like, live your life. Like, stop. Like, you don't, no.
And now, piggyback on what she's saying, despite she said have fun, she did mention the late 20s is really the time to get serious about retirement. Because you meet a lot of people who, if you're not thinking, it is annoying. Like I said, you're going on all these things, you hearing all these things about retirement. You're like, I just started making money. Like, leave me alone. But it's like, if you have in your mind a certain age you don't want to be working by, you have to have a plan of how you're going to live before the government starts giving you your deserved money. Because you don't get that money anytime. You can't be like, I want to retire by 40. Here, bring me my 401k.
When I say extreme, I mean people who are trying to retire by 40. So they like use all their money on investments and retire, and then they eat noodles all day. Like, no, I don't believe in that type of extreme retirement plan. But I don't believe in that.
But if you, period, like, retirement is a big thing. You want to be able to live comfortably when you retire. You don't know if Social Security is going to be around when we're older. All these things are being cut left and right. So, your late 20s, I think, is a good time to really start, like, researching and understanding this whole retirement
thing. Some of the stuff, when you're young, you don't really get it.
You don't get it. You don't really understand, I have a job and they'll match me, but I don't want to do it because I don't want to. But it's like they're matching you, like, that's free money. Like, just do it. Like, you know what I mean?
And do it pre-tax. Right? Pre-tax, you get that more.
Yeah, get that HSA. Like, that's untaxed income. Like, you can still use that. I buy lotion with it. Like, I buy soap with it. Like, supplement vitamins. You don't really know these things. Maybe a Roth is better for you than a 401k. You need to educate yourself, understand those things. So you're set up good when you're older. You don't have to feel that stress of, I need to go to work at 62 because I don't have money and I still can't tap in. And
I said, life is about balance.
Yeah.
I don't believe in extreme. So this one may be controversial. Y'all, let me know in the comment section. Number 5, how to level up in your late 20s. if you can, live by yourself. Live by yourself. Get the experience of living alone. This is, of course, if you're married. I'm not telling you to leave your husband and go get an apartment. Like, obviously, if you're in medical, like, there's certain people that they're in medical school, they're in professional school. There's certain people, and they're probably still living by themselves, right? So that I understand there's people, you got things going on. Maybe you're not fine. I'm not telling you to go steal money to live by yourself. But if you can and you have the money, I don't see this whole narrative, especially in our culture, Nigerian-American culture. I just think it's so bizarre in this New Jersey. People be bragging that they have $100,000 of income and you live with your parents. To me, that shit is odd. That is weird. Like, I'm not saying be broke.
And if you really can't afford it, you can't afford it.
I'm not saying not have money and then go live alone and be asking your parents for rent money. That's not what I'm saying. But I feel like if you can afford to do it, try it. Like, take that risk. I do think that it makes you more mature. I do think it helps you develop and mature. And I'm not saying, like, this is someone that I didn't move out till like a year ago. But I can't tell you that a year ago and now that my experience it's just different. It's just different. I don't know how to talk to my cousin that what you think is different. Some people are living at home with their parents. They don't even buy groceries. Okay, they don't even pay one bill. You cannot compare that to living on your own. That is night and day. I was very independent living in my mother's house, but I still can tell you that living alone is different. It is totally different. If you can do it, just get the experience. You may not like it. Is not for everyone. I'm not gonna glamorize it. It is not for everyone. If you are very antisocial, if you're someone that doesn't like living alone, you can get a roommate. You know what I mean? You can live with someone if you want to live with someone.
Your parents' house.
Live, even if it's in the same state. I really think you should try living on your own. I definitely think that's a way to level up. That's just me. People may argue with me, but I just don't think it makes sense to be able to afford living alone. But for some reason, you think it's a waste of money. How is it a waste of money? It's where you live.
It's conditioning, though.
Right, like, it doesn't make sense to me, but you're flying on a vacation every 2 months. That's a waste of money. Right. I can argue that you're buying designer bags. I could say that's a waste of money. You know, anything is a waste if you really want.
You don't value it, it's a waste.
Anything you don't value is a waste of money. You know, so I just think that this whole, like, you see people just act so mature, I'm so grown. I'm sorry. If you're still living with your parents, don't tell me you're mature and so grown. Like, it comes to a point, people are going to stop taking you serious. Like, you cannot say you're grown, Miss Independent, this and that, but you still live with mommy and dad. You don't pay any bills. And you eat their groceries. Like, that
you're waiting for them to cook.
You're waiting for them to cook you rice before you go eat. That's childish. Like, you are not an adult. I'm sorry, that is not adult.
You're an adult, but you're not a full adult.
Yeah. Living with your parents.
So, picking off what you said about, you mentioned traveling. I think a big tip. This is number 6. Living in your late 20s is traveling as much as you can. And I emphasize this because the first time I left America, besides going to like Nigeria, I was like 19, and I went with my school, and I went to Jamaica, and it was such a life-altering experience. Like, when I say, like, I talked this 9 years ago, it was like a change in my life.
Was it life-altering? Just that you went somewhere new?
It was everything. Like, I just feel like traveling. If you're like, I listened to someone the other day on YouTube. Traveling is like education. It's like you're going to school when you travel. Like, you're learning, and it just changes your worldview. And not to, you know, for the most part, it's good to travel, period. But like, when you're in your early 20s, money's not always there. You're trying to figure things out.
Realistically, you're saying travel when you're financially stable.
Thank you. And that's most likely going to be more towards the end of your 20s. You know what I mean? Or early 30s, mid 30s.
Not struggle travel.
Yeah, like, I did my struggle travel here and there. You know, like, it's good, but it's like, I think at this point, you really have to emphasize. And like I said, travel is not for everyone. But for the people who want to travel but feel like it's something they can't do or they can't afford, you know, there's just so many ways around it. You just have to have one down person, you know, make itineraries. I'm about to start Instagram. I'm gonna have my link there. I'm about to start selling my itineraries. But yeah, you can just do it. There's so many ways to do it now. 2021, you have all these flight engines, Google Flights, Kayak, you have Airbnb, you have hotel, you have all these avenues to make travel more accessible and affordable. Like, we can't give ourselves excuses anymore. Like I said, this for people who care, because a lot of people who really do care for traveling, but they just don't see how it could fit into the picture. And some people don't care for it, and that's fine.
The reality is that the reason why I feel like it's very important, like you said, in the late 20s, the reality is for a lot of people that want to be settled down, they want to get married.
You don't have all that time to be jumping up and down.
Right.
Let's be real. You're not gonna have a 1-year-old be flying around Italy like you breastfeeding. Like, you can't do that. Like, let's face the fact. Once you hit a certain age as a woman, if you decide you want to have a family, you want to get married, you don't have that time anymore. So you need to. That's why I be getting so overwhelmed. Thinking about, I want to go here. Like, now that the world is open up, like, when I think about a place I want to go, I start getting like, oh my god, when am I gonna get? Where am I gonna get there? There's no time. Oh my gosh. Like you need to, like it's a reality. It's real. Like I'm not gonna have a 2-year-old be worried about doing cross. Like I still want to travel, but I know that I don't have
traveling with little kids.
Yeah, like I know that. Like how am I gonna leave my child for 2-3 weeks? Like
leave you, take it.
I'm not bringing my child on a 1-year-old on a vacation. Like I'm not doing that.
That's not even a vacation because you gotta take care of somebody.
Yeah, that's stressful.
I want to relax and someone take care of me.
So I'm saying this is definitely a time to really enjoy that traveling.
So number 7, how to level up in your late 20s. I would say definitely prioritize your health. Like, because I think sometimes we get so caught up in this work life, hustle, make money, that people just think, oh, I heard asleep when you die. When you're dead, you're not sleeping. You're dead. You know what I mean? Like, I just get your sleep, rest, take care of yourself,
pay attention to your body. There's a lot of things that are going on that you weren't when you're young, you don't really understand. But I feel like I know for me, a lot of my body started changing like mid-20s. I started having all these issues, like noticing things, my hair, just certain conditions, and I just feel as if when I was younger, I didn't really I wasn't paying attention to it. It was probably there or starting, but like my mind wasn't there because in years of not taking care of your body, you start to develop these issues, right? Because you've been neglecting them for all these years.
Don't listen to no one that tells you you don't need to sleep. You need to sleep. Yeah. Like hormones, everything.
Get your yearly blood work. Know what your A1C is. Know what your cholesterol is. Know what your blood pressure is.
Your blood sugar.
Your blood diabetes. Yeah, like you need to look into all these things because as you get older, you need to tackle other stuff when you're younger because when you get older, it's harder to break habits. Hard to start eating well. If you're trying to lose weight, I know my struggle. I could write a book. Like as I got older in my 20s, like it's just harder to keep weight off. It's easier to gain. When I was 22, 21, like I could eat what I want. I didn't gain weight.
Right.
But just even I'm still in my 20s, but like my body's just so different. So I would definitely emphasize taking your health a little more serious. So everyone loves relationship talk. So this is a big one. People will say you're always supposed to do this, but the reality is that an 18-year-old is to be as focused on dating a marriage material guy as a 28-year-old. That's just the reality because the average 18-year-old is not getting married. So at this point in your life, all your playing, all the fun, whatever you want to do.
20s, we're saying 27, latest.
Yeah, all that
26.
Stuff, all that stuff is gone. Let's be real right now. And all my fellow women, especially fellow women, I don't know, these men are they have a little advantage in this aspect. But fellow women, late 20s, do not date, sleep with, and a man that you cannot marry. You're wasting your time. Just go in the corner and pray by yourself. It's wasting time. You are at an age where you should be dating marriage-worthy men. Not just giving anyone a chance. I used to be the girl giving everyone a chance. Oh, he talked, no, I had to reject. I felt bad. This guy kept calling me. I just knew like this is not gonna work. When I was 25, I would have went on a few dates with him and entertained him and still had to tell him a couple of months later, this is not gonna work. I didn't even let it get to date 1. I had to tell homeboy, you blowing up my phone. This is not gonna work. It's not. I know I don't want to waste your resources and my time. It's not worth it. You need to be on it because at this point you don't want to be having them story. Oh, I didn't know I got pregnant. No, girls who bring up those stories are 19. They're 22. They were young. You can't tell me at 29, 28, 27 you're dating a guy you got pregnant. You didn't know he was a bum. No one's gonna feel sorry for you. I pity the girls who are 19. My heart goes to them. I know what women go through. I understand you're young because at 20, I didn't know shit. That could have easily been me. It's just only the grace of God. So at this age, you cannot give yourself those excuses. You're not dating for fun. You're not dating for experience. You already have the experience, honey. We got it. You're dating, not to say you're dating marriage-minded, but date intentionally. Like date men who are really like, you really see yourself with. Not just to have a companion, not to be lonely, or have someone to go. It's very easy to fall into that trap. Trust me, I understand, I get it. But it's not worth it, sis. It's not.
Number 9, a way to level up in your late 20s would be, don't focus, even though she just talked about the dating relationship, don't focus solely on just intimate relationships. Because I noticed as you go later in your 20s, I don't have as much friends as I used to. In my early 20s, I had way more friends. Maintaining friendships, keeping friends just becomes harder. People go, you go to college, let's say you went to one state, people stay there, you go back to your state, people get separated, people move for jobs, people relocate. So I would say just don't focus only on men. If you're a woman, if you're a man, like focus on your also other relationships, like your friendships, like your family, because at the end of the day, friends are so important. We talk about it all the time on this channel. Friends are friends are just as important as a husband. Good friends are just as important as having a good partner. Like, I don't think one is necessary. The only difference is that my friends are not going to get me pregnant. So that's the only reason why I could say I might put the man a little bit above it, right? Because they stop. Why I might put the man a little bit above the friendship. But like, getting older, making friends is hard. So when you have those friendships in your late 20s, don't let them dwindle. Like, don't let, like, take them serious. Like, put in the effort that you can, because at least that person, you already know them. You have a foundation, you have a background. Like, starting all over and making friends again in your late 20s, it can be challenging because people are so cliquish. Right. So a bunch of females already have their cliques. They're not letting nobody in.
Seal tight.
They're not letting nobody in. Or you make these type of friendships here and there, but they're so, like, they're based on nothing. You don't have a foundation. You didn't go to school with them.
You don't have a shared
You didn't work
belief.
with them. You know, you didn't go to, you know, like, it's almost like, it's just hard. So I would definitely say, like, take your friendships serious and try to sustain them.
Yeah, I agree. And the last tip, how to level up in your late 20s, I would say, is change jobs frequently. And I know it may sound anti, what is it? The word I'm looking for. I may sound like it's against all the things you learned. Get a job, do well, get promoted, stay in one place, get that raise. But no,
I don't think I'd age.
Nah, we don't do that anymore. That was the back then. That you were the company man, the company woman. Gone are those days. I literally just quit my job today. So I'm giving you this. I'm giving you this advice. When you stay one place too long in a job particularly, you lose in terms of salary, you lose in terms of experience, you lose in terms of value. It's the reality. It is what it is. You, at this point in your life, it's a certain point in your life where you cannot learn as quickly, you cannot adjust as quickly, you can't move around jobs like that. I get it. But this is the time where, in terms of career building, you need to, if you can, and if you're in a field that allows it, try to get as much experience in different types of jobs within your field as possible. I'm telling you, because once you leave one place, you can negotiate for how many dollars later higher. But these raises nowadays, back then, people got raises. Now people getting down 25 cents, 50 cents a year. Like, that's not good. You know what I mean? So it's like, you need to use your experience to go somewhere else, get more, then go somewhere else, get more, learn this, learn that. And
don't overdo it.
Of course, you don't do a job every year. That's a lot. But I'm just saying, change jobs and just different careers. Like, we
don't get too comfortable, basically.
And we also mentioned, did we mention monetizing the skill? Yeah, that's part of it. Monetizing the skill, even if you can. Try things that you know may be easier to start YouTube at 25 than 45. Doesn't mean you can't start. That's not what I'm saying, but it's just easier. You know, I know even me, I'm even 27 versus 47. I know me, I'm even struggling to use my new camera like this, but I can't even imagine. You know what I mean? Like, it's just easier to learn things at a certain age. That's just the reality. Your brain works differently. You're more accepting to new things and change. So let us know how you feel about our 10 ways to level up in your late 20s. Did we miss anything? What was your favorite tip? Can you relate to this video? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with everyone you know. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.